Hello, I'm Chylli from channel Chylli, also known as Chai, and we are back with more Limbus Company, back for more of the Arknights crossover event here. Okay, we're about 1/3 of the way through, so let's just get right into it. There's something going on in the village. Yeah, I hear it too. I'm hearing people shouting and hollering. When we returned to the village, ship repairs completed, we were welcomed by a rather hostile standoff. A quick count told me there were approximately 20 people assembled at the village square. Considering its population, that was pretty much the whole village. Who's that over there? Inquisitor, I think we've been found. The Inquisitor, dressed in a well-kept uniform, was about the same height as Don Quixote. The sword and lamp hanging from her waist sits in a stark contrast to the more run-down, ramshackle village. She almost looked like a fixer from the city. So the Inquisition has discovered our village. Did you really think that you could forever stay out of the Inquisition's gaze, citizen? That's a naive dream. Fabius disappeared from the Inquisition mid-interrogation under charges of suspicion of membership within the Church of the Deep. Last known location, Salt Flat. The other Inquisitors have informed me that you've been identified next to pirates in the fringes. From a criminal to an outlaw, what a dramatic evolution of your career. But it ends here, now. Every citizen here, including you, will be accompanying me to the Inquisition. They've never broken a single law, nor are they outlaws of any kind. They're not like me. They disregarded the Inquisition's authority, evaded the gaze of Iberia, and found this sodden coast to lurk in. Tell me, am I not supposed to find that suspicious? What are you talking about? You can't just start arresting people left and right with a tenuous suspicion like that. You shouldn't. We only wish to live a quiet life, ma'am. Is that so? And then you might find yourselves returning to this village one day, as long as you're telling the truth. Which is not an option for you, Fabius. Mayors, was Chief really a pirate? Well, yeah, but as far as I know, he's been out of the game for a while. And even when he ran with the pirates, all he ever did was share fin beast jerky to villages. Or carry Aegirians between them. Even if you're telling the truth, Mayors, I doubt the Inquisition will be lenient. Well, what now? I have the one question to ask. That Inquisitor, is she following the proper legal procedures? I don't know much about the laws of Iberia, but Dr. Kaltze told us the words of Inquisitors were pretty much the law here. It is likely that she is following the proper legal procedures. The procedures are precisely what the villagers have fled from, after all. Then it is decided. Otis quietly dragged me to the side and whispered outside Mayor's earshot. The sinners, who were right next to me, seemed to have picked it up, though. Executive Manager, we best immediately return to the ship, take command of it, and sail out on our own. It is unwise to involve ourselves in this conflict. What, are you seriously suggesting we just let him arrest the villagers? Didn't you hear what the Inquisitor said? It seems quite cut and dry to me. If this is the standard procedure with no local laws broken, we are in no place to involve ourselves. Our best hope is to take the ship before they impound Matt, too. I mean, I have to agree, if they're not breaking the law, you can't really interfere, can you? We can't do that, even if it's standard procedure, even if they're working within the law, it's not... You stayed up to hear Mayor's story too, didn't you? You know, the Ancorp Inquisitors were working within the law too when they came to the village. That was standard procedure too. If anyone had stepped in then... I know what you went through, but I'd still rather not take a risk in an unfamiliar environment like this. Yeah, I find myself agreeing with Otis here. I don't think it's a good idea to get involved here. I will try my best to figure out how to sail that ship. If I cannot, then I have faith in Ishmael to quickly learn its controls. I can't say you're wrong, but I don't know. Neither you nor I know anything about the ocean currents here, Otis. We can get the ship going, but I can't guarantee we'll reach the dimensional door without any trouble. Do you know anything about the sea currents in the region? Not much, but I know the coastal sea somewhat, and you can't fight the Inquisitors directly here in Iberia. Fleeing with the ship might be a better option. What should we do, Dante? Yeah, I guess it's kinda awkward for us to just take the ship and go. How about we try to talk to the Inquisitor, then? I think we should at least try to hear them out first, them being the Inquisitor and the Chief both. If the discussion goes well, we might even be able to get the Inquisitor support. The Inquisition support. Like Mr. Hungley said, we should hear them out first, then try to convince them. I agreed with them both. First, let's at least see what the Inquisitor has to say. Rabbit's right, she says. Are you certain that translation was accurate, Sinclair? Right? There's no way Ryoshi would choose anything other than violence, right? Idiots, it's because the other options are pointless. Inquisitors seen us. We are already under suspicion. She will doubtlessly try to stop us if we flee now, so talk first, lower her guard, then attack. Pretty sure that's not what Almia meant. Well, if she's already onto us, then we shouldn't give her any excuse to attack us by running away. I was wondering what you were doing there, lurking in the background. A clock-shaped head. Are you from the Colombian Union? They're wearing a clock for a head due to reasons, but they have nothing to do with the Colombian Union. What's the Colombian Union? TikTok? What? What language are they speaking? Regardless of whether you're from Colombia or not, you're clearly not from Iberia, let alone this village. You're not wrong, but I think there's been a bit of a misunderstanding. I'm certain you don't know enough about these villagers to stand between them and an Inquisitor. How long have you been staying here? 2 days? Buddy, don't just tell her that. 2 days, alright, enough with the chicanery. Get out of my way, outsider. The attempt appears to have been made on quite unstable ground. Please, lend us your ear for a minute, Inquisitor. I'm Amia, leader of Rhode Island. Yes, I'm aware of Iberia's closed border situation. I felt hope swelling within me as Amia began with confidence on my Sinclair. Alas, it was short-lived. Thanks to the Inquisitor's quick retort, I couldn't help but place my palm against my forehead at the exchange that followed. Oh, so not only are we dealing with outsiders of dubious origin, we have a legal entry as well. We had to, because the issue demands urgency, and... I've been briefed. Brazenly crossed the border, did you? I don't know how urgent that issue could be, but I doubt it's anything more significant than the situation at hand for Iberia and its Inquisition. The High Inquisitor is handling the Rhode Island issue. Stay put and await the consequences while he and the chatty med doctor of yours talk it out. Do you know that your treatment may depend on her negotiation skills? As for the village chief, I understand that you have the right to arrest him, as he is a fugitive who has fled in the middle of an interrogation and has been sailing with the pirates. However, it is an inhumane treatment to arrest the rest of the villagers as well. Inhumane? This decision is well within the rights bestowed upon the Inquisition. They've lived for years right next to that highly suspicious Aegir. The Inquisition must investigate the rest of them as well to verify whether they've committed any acts of treason against their laws. That isn't going anywhere, is it? Listen, they've been surviving for years upon years by the coast without the protection of the Inquisition, and that simply cannot make sense. Boy, I think I've heard enough from you. Ain't it funny how you're blaming them for what is essentially a failure on your responsibilities? And now you roll in here only to go, they shouldn't be alive, I'm arresting them all? What are you saying? These people should all be dead or something? I am. There's no other way to cut it. People simply shouldn't be able to survive in a place like this. Not for this long. The Inquisitor's reply only seemed to fan Heathcliff's wrath as he raised his bat and began striding forward. That's it. Lass, if you ever so much as touch the tip of a single villager's hair. Please, calm yourself, Heathcliff, but Hongli stepped in between them. Get your bloody hands off me, I've had enough of her. Continuing to threaten her will only cause something irrevocably bad to happen. I believe you know that yourself, Heathcliff. What do you suggest, then? We're clearly not making progress by talking this out. Excuse me, Miss Inquisitor, what do you mean that people shouldn't be able to survive in a place like this? I mean it literally, even by some miracle that they actually do survive, they should at least be suffering from endless hunger, struggling to their wits' end at the inevitability of the calamity. But they look too healthy. The heck? Then shouldn't you be applauding them for managing to survive through so much hardship? I'm an Inquisitor. I'm not some crazy person on a power high who goes around accosting and arresting civilians of Iberia. Straight to the gallows, okay? I have more than enough probable cause to take them in for interrogation. It's just that I don't have the time or energy to explain every single one of them to you outsiders. I promise them a fair judgment, whatever that may be, after a proper investigation. So stop it with this obstruction of justice. The Inquisitor brandishes her rapier threateningly, her voice shaking with frustration. Dante, without the full picture of the circumstances, Faust advises against any further antagonization of a local political authority. I agree with Faust. I get the feeling that she isn't the kind of heartless inquisitor that goes around indiscriminately executing innocents like Miss Mayers told us about earlier. I don't think she's anything like the Inquisitors of Incorp we saw back at Kawa. They were right, we don't have the full picture of the circumstances. Getting in the way of an Inquisitor who is clearly a rather significant political entity in the area was most likely a bad idea. It isn't the Inquisitor's job to answer your questions. Continue to obstruct me then, as the standoff was showing no signs of ending. Miss Mayers, I can answer your questions, so for now, let's do as the Inquisitor says. Mayers, who had been hiding behind us ever since we returned to the village, suddenly stepped forward. Yet what of thy grandfather and the villagers? It's alright, I'm sure this is happening only because the Inquisitor doesn't know. What do you mean you'll answer the questions? About the profound silence. Mayer's response notice was but a single concept. I didn't quite grasp its significance, but it seemed to have surprised the Inquisitor. That's what they call the calamity that destroyed Iberia.
필도 출진.
Decades ago, a great wave ravaged through Iberia. It wasn't long before the seaborns carried by the waves diminished Iberians' brilliant civilization to this. The waves, the profound silence must have reduced the village to its current state as well. Is there any reason it's called the profound silence? It doesn't seem to be the most appropriate moniker for a calamity like that. It's because the sea went dead silent after the waves came. The silence that claimed ships at sea, then the cities of Iberia, then the Iberians. No one could say a word in the face of ineffable calamity. What are you? No average Iberian citizen should be privy to any of the information you're sharing. And the Church of the Deep is really capitalizing on the pandemonium that followed the profound silence. They've pretended to be Aegir from the sea, deluded the citizenry of Iberia, and are sowing chaos in our lands. So that's why they're arresting the Aegir left and right. I can see the thought process, but... So it's understandable why the Inquisitor would want to arrest us. Dante, this isn't good. Sharing this seems to have been some kind of a taboo-like thing for the Inquisition. The Inquisitor wordlessly stared at Mayers. Her eyes were filled with traces of anger and confusion, but... She's afraid. There was fear in the face of a threat. Not the fear of the terrified. No, it was the fear of someone who's suddenly confronted with something they must destroy. The High Inquisitor once told me that should I come across an Aegir who knows too much, there is a sliver of a chance that they may be of assistance to Iberia. Cease, thou art threatening the innocent with thy brandishing of their firearm. But most are sentenced to the allure of the sea, as they are, with little doubt, our foes. I've got a bad feeling about this. Get out of my way, outsider. Final warning. Run! Quick on the uptake as always. Rhodia slung Mayers over her shoulder and ran past the villagers, while the sinners scattered in all directions to distract the Inquisitor. the Inquisitor draws her firearm, and in the midst of all the action, Don Quixote rushed forward toward the Inquisitor without a moment's hesitation. Don Quixote, thou shalt go no further. I, a fixer of justice, shall not abide by as thou persecute them. Forsooth, 'tis a battle delayed and not avoided. This clash is inevitable. In that moment of crisis, seconds before things could irrevocably make us a new enemy. Monster. A large obsidian crystallization in the shape of a monster burst forth from between the two of them. Who is it this time? That's enough meaningless bickering. Dr. Couchsit, do you know her? Yes, she's Dr. Couchsit, Rhode Island's medical department. Dr. Couchsit, behind you. She first talk later, is it? The negotiations are over. From this moment onward, Rhode Island is now operating within legal capacity on Iberian territory under the Inquisition's authorization. The Inquisitor fired a blast of the firearm-looking weapon, but the monster summoned by Couchsit managed to deflect it. And a cannonball thrown from the weapon punched clear through the wall of the building we stayed the night in, before punching through several other buildings behind it. That was enough to instantly freeze the sinners and the villagers on the spot. That penetrated a building, though the walls may be weaker than the head standard for what counts as a building's exterior wall. To punch through so many is... what a precise point it makes. Now's not the time to stand around impressed. It is a violation of a taboo to have that much penetrative power in a firearm. We're not in the city. Don't lose your heads over this. Taboos don't apply here. My head knows that to be true, yet my heart finds it difficult to be still. That's enough of the discussion for now. It is advisable that we carefully observe and grasp the situation at hand instead of deliberating on a taboo, the jurisdiction of which does not reach this far. Yeah, so the situation's gotten slightly better, right? If she's Omnia's friend, she's our ally. Besides, she's got some seriously powerful looking prosthetic gear looking thing too. Is that what you think? I apologize for the disappointment, but I'm not on anyone's side. In other words, your particular denomination ally might not be entirely correct. However, if I must define my allegiance, then let me inform you that the closest label would be that I am Inquisitor Irene's ally. Dr. Couchsit, Omnia, outsiders, as much as you would like to deny it, the Inquisitor's suspicions are true. While it can be said that the process by which she reached the conclusion was unfair, the conclusion itself is, without a doubt, correct. So they're actually connected to the Church of the Deep. That is one way to put it. To be more precise, they aren't connected to the Church of the Deep. They are the Church of the Deep. Perhaps the village itself is a dilapidated church of their congregation. Our village, a church. Just look at the buildings. Where would we even congregate? Your thoughts, Faust? There are not many resources by which we may analyze the decision. However, the fact that Omnia's colleague has made the same argument as the Inquisitor brings the accused defense into question. Yet I can hardly believe that young Mares is lying to us. Hold on, you've been chatting plenty with that Inquisition or whatever. How do we know you weren't aligned with them the whole time? I see, you really are entirely in the dark. An unexpected outcome, given that all of you may be from a place far beyond the dimensional door. As fortune should have it, there is no need for you to know it anyway. Truth is truth, unchanging, without the acceptance from an errant group of outsiders. Besides, soon. I'm sorry it seems we mired you in this trouble. Say no such thing. We shall not abide by as one such injustice is perpetuated before our eyes. The village has already been identified by the Inquisition, and the Inquisition has even brought an ally. It seems quite unlikely that words shall resolve this conflict. But we promise you we will take responsibility for what is done. We have benefited far too much from your warmth and kindness not to do so. The village chief, with a benevolent look, pulls a dagger from his cloth, and I immediately knew what Chylli was about to say. Take responsibility, you don't have to go that... Why me? We are now departing for the sea, yet as we cannot bring ourselves to leave you here, I must ask you to join us for our journey, become our blood kin. What are you doing? Stop! The unanticipated, or perhaps I was simply in denial of the rising dread, ambush did not end there. Damn it, the Inquisitor was right. The villagers suddenly began shanking the sinners with weapons they had concealed in their clothes. And it seemed that they were coming for me as well. Amiya on your left. Amiya materialized, a black ribbon-like apparition, tearing away the dagger flying in my direction. But another villager rushed in, taking advantage of the opening. The charging villager's back made a visceral, crunchy noise. Someone flung them away. Didn't mean to be this late. Scatty, let me catch you up to speed. I know the situation. This fishy smell was what I went to investigate earlier. What about the sinners? Unlike Amiya and I, who managed to survive the initial ambush, the sinners weren't doing so well. At least we had the silver lining in the Inquisitor, and Chylli's quick understanding of the situation and the subsequent retaliation led the villagers away from the sinners. How? I didn't notice any hostility or aggression. What an odd thing to say. Why would we hold any animosity against you? Why would we intend to kill you? We are not trying to hurt you, we are simply trying to give you a form better suited for the sea. Until we were obstructed. I apologize for the unfamiliarity has caused you trouble, Inquisitor. I won't make a big stink about what happened. What's truly unforgivable is that the heretics tried to take advantage of the ignorance of outsiders to flee the Inquisition. And even if you are outsiders, any lives lost on Iberian soil are my responsibility. It's my fault. I'm sorry it came to this. Wait, lives lost? We're still alive, you know. We can shake off a stab wound like... It is most unfortunate, outsider. What? Your friends are either going to die or turn into Seaborn. The daggers that stabbed them were laced with the flesh of sea terrors. Once that happens, most die, and the survivors become overridden by their cells, become nothing more than another sea monster. What? That's not a very big deal. Everyone was acting like this was it for the sinners, but... Hey, I should be able to deal with this by turning the clock. It's not that bad. My only concern was that I didn't know what would happen if I tried to bring them back after they're fully transformed into the Seaborn. The Golden Bow helped deal with the whale's solidification effects, but I had no idea how it would interact with the Seaborn transformation. We should just kill them before they turn. I know this might be very hard for you, but what? Sorry to bother you with this, but can you kill my friends? And preferably in the least painful way, you know? Sorry, was the last part kinda too much to ask? Wait, don't give up already. If we bring them back to Rhode Island, we should be able to do something to help them. How should I explain this? Guys, can you... Dante, I know what you mean, but I just can't right now. My strength's rapidly deteriorated since the ambush. It's kinda tingly too, so maybe use some kind of paralytic cocktail? Just trust me this one time, I can assure you that I'm not just giving up on them. But, Namia, can you understand the outsider's speech? Yes, it's that they're making a pretty difficult request. They want me to kill all of their friends before they transform into Seaborn. Okay. And before we even knew it, Scatty had already decapitated the sinners, none of whom resisted. I mean, I seem to have been taken aback by how fast Scatty jumped into action. What are you doing, Scatty? Don't let this spook you, this is just how we roll. The clock turns, the decapitated heads crept toward the headless torsos, connecting with the threads of blood. The sensation is that of reversal. It feels as though the sinners and I are severed from the rest of the world, rewinding in isolation. Is this rewinding us going back in time, or are we defying the concept itself? The pain is multifold worse than the sensation of a straightforward decapitation. The pain is in the heart. As the current form of death reverses, I sense a deep, crushing isolation. Their wounds are disappearing. Resurrection. Metempsychosis, or time reversal. Puzzling, I have no knowledge with which to interpret this technology. The cause seems to be that the pain is transferred to the one who rewinds. But that seems too small a price for such great power, though the discussion of which this can be categorized as power should be explored later. I couldn't stop shaking, all my limbs were trembling from the icy solitude. Still, I took a moment to collect myself and ordered the sinners. I don't know just what they were thinking, but we should be able to find out once we take them down. You dare deceive the executive manager and try to take their life. Prepare thyself, for thou shalt now pay the price for making a mockery of justice. Yeah, we can't just let this slide, you know. How unfortunate. I had high hopes that all of you would become fine bloodkins.
행색이 이상하나 그럼에도 이상이여 내가 맞소. 내가 아시의 이상을 함께 줬던 호위 이상이여.
Okay, so this is a focused encounter.
도끼를 본다. 저 해충들을 도려내라. 묘여 길을 열어라.
敵に対して大きな打撃を与えました。 ダンテさんの作戦、とても効果的でした。
숨통 끊기.
このままいけば敵を食い止められます。
흑수묘
12세기 나왔다.
가치 없
이 앞에 숨쉬는
죽어라.
누구 하나 살려보내지 마라.
Okay, so far it's not too bad right now.
이건 예상 못했나 봐.
무상한 목숨. 불끈에 지원할 뿐.
このままいけば敵を食い止められます。
흑수묘 뒷박질 춤.
최근엔 좋았어요. これが必 な戦いであれば。
불가 위야 막아내지 못하리.
하나 넘고 물 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라. 그쪽 방향이 아닐 텐데.
エリートオペレーター並みの腕前です。
불가 위야 막아내지 못하리.
And there we go, we're down to just the mini boss left here.
일기당천. 하나 넘고 셋 넘고 무수히 넘고 얼마든지 꺾고 제쳐라. 내 앞을
무상히.
달리시오. 아시다면 능히 그리할 수 있어.
불끈 지원해.
그쪽 방향이 아닐 텐데. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
And there we go, we killed him. Wait, I think they're headed to... He's running himself into a dead end, or are they seeking refuge at sea? Wait, that's where the ship is. That's where they're headed. They're trying to board the vessel, May says. But we never told them the ship was repaired, so how... It's obvious the whole village is in on it. It's not a surprise that they'd send someone to spy on us, or they know a way to get the ship floating even in this broken state. Vessel Masas. Vessel Rebellion de las Masas. The ship is moored at a port in that direction. Wait, it can't be. Irene, who was preoccupied with battling the rest of the followers of the Church of the Deep who were in hiding, quickly gave chase. But Fabius and the villagers were already aboard the repaired ship, slowly departing the harbor with a horde of sea terrorists between us and them. How can a vessel of that size become operational that fast? The exterior, the name, it must have been constructed during the Golden Age of Iberia. But how are we supposed to chase that? What if we build a raft and root after them? Mate, come on. Seas full of sea terrorists, they won't be getting very far before it sinks. Do you see something, Amiya? You keep looking in my direction. The vessel Masa soon disappeared into the mist, and the village was left empty with nary a sign of people ever having been there, as though this getaway had been all but premeditated, leaving only Mayors.
이렇게 쉽게 통과하리라곤 상상도 못했는데. 세가들에게 은자를 풀어야겠어요. 이런 경사스러운 날에는 조금 풀어줘도 괜찮겠죠.
And hey, we are officially halfway done now. Damn it, can't we just take any ship to go after it? It's a research vessel, it can't possibly be very fast. This'll be difficult, even if it's a research vessel. I'm sure it was constructed during the golden age of Iberia. No average ship can keep up with it. Which is a problem, because I doubt we have any ship that can travel at the same speed. We only have a few small vessels left, which are all anchored too far from the location to be feasible options. Do we have any recourse? No, not unless we can identify the exact location of the vessel. Which is the real problem. We can find ourselves a ship to go after them, yes, but most sides of Iberia, the lighthouses, were lost during the profound silence. When you say most, do you mean that there's some left? Just one, as far as I know. It's the one in Grand Faro, but that lighthouse cannot be used at the moment. There's a lighthouse you can use. Really? Are you really going to give one of the villagers the benefits of the doubt? Yeah, young Scatty have already confirmed her to be safe. Holly confirmed whether she was a seaborn or not. Can't doubt she's a cultist. 'Tis true, yet once we saw that Maris was left all on her own, we decided to have her accompany us all the time and keep her within Irene's eyeshot. We couldn't possibly blame her for what happened, given Scatty's confirmation that she doesn't have anything to do with those sea monsters. Besides, they'd all left her behind, but Irene still seemed to harbor a bit of suspicion. The problem with Aegir is she simply knows too much. Where could she have possibly gained access to all that information? See, she can't even answer that question. But let's think about it this way. What if we were to ask her what we don't know? The location of that lighthouse, for example. They're ticking rapidly. What did they say? Don't they see it says that we should approach it differently and ask her what we don't know, like the location of the lighthouse? That seems like a reasonable suggestion to me, or does the Inquisitor have an alternate solution to this conundrum? No, but fine, let's hear it. I won't interrogate you about how you have access to things that even us Inquisitors don't know, at least not right now. Faro Muerto, Dead Lighthouse, that's her village name. Somewhere a little ways off the coastline, there's an intact Eye of Iberia on the sea. Though it was almost destroyed when the profound silence swept through. Off the coastline, is it not connected to the land? I think it used to be, until it sank. We should be able to procure ourselves enough wooden material from the village to build a raft. Is it near enough for a raft to be a means of access? The weather's not great today, but it should do. It's not far from the coast. Even you're going to trust the Aegir. I don't see why I shouldn't. I understand that Iberian mistrust of the Aegir is quite profound, yet such sentiment is hollow to the rest of us. Inquisitor Irene, what do you feel when you saw the Rhode Island operator? If you're talking about the Countess, nothing in particular other than slight annoyance when she accused me of being inhumane. So you don't harbor any hostility nor disgust, not that you would have felt any sense of sympathy or empathy either. I thought, I have no history of feelings for or against the Aegir. Such must be the same for the outsiders. What is she on about? She is conveying that in matters in regards to mayors, our options are more objective. Our opinions are more objective than Irene's. Finding the vessel Fabius commandeered will be a benefit to all of us. Limbus Company will gain an opportunity to return to the city via the dimensional door, while Rhode Island will have the chance to study it at a closer proximity. The Inquisition will gain possession of the vessel in which the technology from the Iberian Golden Age is contained. What, you're just going to hand it over to the Inquisition? Why should we covet what was once Iberia's? While there certainly are aspects to the vessel that draw interest, I already have a state-of-the-art masterpiece known as Mephistopheles. As long as that can be guaranteed, I see no reason to refuse. Irene eventually agreed to put her trust in mayors. We are in luck, Executive Manager. It is quite fortunate that our interests aligned exactly with that of the first strangers we encountered in a strange land. Lucky is right. Imagine if we were back at the city. It would have taken them like 3 or 4 free distortion hunts for us to come to this agreement. Sorry about having to settle you with this, Mayors. Please, lead us to the lighthouse. Okay, happily. So when you said almost destroyed, how almost destroyed is it? I heard that the light faded from the lighthouse a long time ago, but the shape still stands. At least it was when I saw it a few months ago. If the lighthouse is in an operable state, we're going to need an expert technician to get it back in working order. The technology it's based on is completely divorced from the popular application of Orangenium technology. So I doubt there's anyone out there who can work on it anymore. Then you needn't worry about that. Here we have an engineer and a researcher who are geniuses even among those in the city, so we should be able to manage most mechanical failures. Today is just revelation after revelation. I can vouch for Limbus Company's skills. I can also work on the simpler tasks. I've learned a thing or two helping out Grant, stuff about the lighthouse or various tax stuff. Well then, should we all head to the lighthouse together? No, I'll be leaving the group for a moment. Tamia will accompany you instead. What, after all that, you're just going off on your own? Yes, to join the doctor. It is imperative for the successful execution of the mission. Of course, that hinges on Amia and Scotty remaining behind here to assist the rest of you. Thus, I will leave the rest to you and take the Eye of Iberia, the lighthouse, back. Wait, what do you mean take back the lighthouse? Is there someone or something out there that's taken over the lighthouse called the Eye of Iberia? A likely supposition. Amia, what did the manager of Limbus Company say? They're asking if the lighthouse has been taken over by something. Not a bad intuition. Yes, there is a high likelihood that the structure has already been overrun by sea terrors. I don't know about overrun, but I've encountered them a few times when we approached it too closely. Normally, this is hardly enough personnel to attempt a raid on the lighthouse, but answer me this, are there any limitations to their revival? There are no restrictions as long as Dante the manager survives. However, do note that battle efficiently deprecates with a prolonged battle due to mounting mental stress on the manager. Depreciates, geez, sorry. No need to change the plan then, Hamya. Use this communicator to alert me as soon as you are able to identify the coordinates of the vessel from the lighthouse. If luck would have it, we should be able to reduce the time it takes to complete the retrieval mission. Okay, as long as you're not taking everyone with you, if it's just her who's leaving, then go ahead. I think we should be fine too. Then let us commence mission. Vessel makes us retrieval. Righto, step one is step one of the plan's the raft, right? Let's get right on with it. It's done, let's go. What are you looking at us like that? Is there something bothering you? Unless you ask, look out for Agent and quick she is to jump to action. Certainly lives up to the image of an employee working for a large corporation. Thanks, Otis, for that charitable view, I guess. Thanks to Scatty, who had already finished the first step of the plan, we were able to move on to step 2 immediately. Alright, well, that's where we're gonna leave it off for today's video. So, if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time to continue with more Limbus Company. Until then, bye!